Okay, so this is just a little clip about transferring your drawing to your canvas. Sometimes I don't draw directly onto the canvas because if I'm not 100% sure of my composition, I'll work it out on paper first. It saves a lot of rubbing out on the canvas. The canvas can end up very messy if you draw on it and rub it out and redraw it and rub it out. So I work on paper first. So as you can see, I'm starting a new painting. It's going to be called the Queen of Hearts. So I've worked out my drawing on a nice big A2 sheet of paper, and now that I'm reasonably happy with the composition, I'm going to start creating a carbon on the back of the drawing so that I can transfer it to the canvas later on. So what I use is just a nice soft 6B pencil, and I just start to rub away on the paper. And what I'm going to have to do is, as you can see, I've drawn a rough outline of where the drawing is, and I'll just cover that whole area with the 6B pencil. So we'll come back when I've done that. Okay, so that's my carbon backing all done. This is the canvas I'm going to be working on. I've worked out the centre of it beforehand, so I've got my lines there. What I'm just going to do now is to attach the drawing to the face of it in the middle of the canvas. So I just use a bit of framing tape. And that just holds it nice and tight against the canvas. What I also do before I begin is I create some registration marks. So just a couple of crosses. And that means if it falls off halfway through, or I have to take it off and go back later on, I can get exactly where I had placed it before just by lining up my little registration marks. Okay, the next job now is to go all over the drawing. I use propelling pencil with a nice HB or harder lead, and I just begin to trace my drawing onto the canvas. So this is the only time I do tracing. I never trace a picture unless it's my own drawing. Anybody can trace, and you're really you're shorting yourself if you just trace. You want to put your own spirit into the painting. Okay, so once I've done that, I'll come back and we'll see how it's gone. Okay, there we go. We've traced all over the drawing, and now I'll remove that, and hopefully underneath we will have our sketch transferred. Alright, so I hope you can see that. It's quite faint, but it's all there. And so what I have to do now is put this back on and trace it again, and then I'll be able to join together the middle seams. If you go to my video painting the ground layer, I think you'll see on there where once I have my drawing on the canvas, I'll go over it with some dilute burnt sienna or burnt umber just to seal in that drawing, and then let that dry before I put on the ground layer. But that's looking quite good. I might come back and show you once I've put the whole thing together. Okay, so there we go. I've gone over it a second time. I've used a purple colouring pencil, hard tipped colouring pencil this time, so I know where I've been. So we'll take that off. Just a word of caution, when you're using a hard pencil, and a sharp hard pencil, don't press too hard. You don't want to go through the paper or through the canvas. You just want to be firm with it. Alright, so that's looking okay. I've got a little bit of work to do just to match up the joins. I've left this hand section empty here. As I said before, I'm going to change that, so I will just hand draw that. But you can see how nice and clean the canvas looks. There's no way you could have drawn that freehand and had such a nice clean canvas. Once you start rubbing out on canvas, it just starts turning to mud. So this is a way of getting your drawing on your stretch canvas nice and clean. And once I've tidied it up a little bit, I will go over it, as I said before, with some burnt sienna, and just cement those pencil lines into the canvas so that they're permanently there, and then I can begin working on the painting. Right, there's the completed drawing, and it's all locked in now with burnt sienna. I'll leave that to dry now for about 3 days. I'll probably put a ground coat on this, even though it's not really a traditional drawing. It's a bit more modern, but I'll probably still go ahead and put a ground coat on. As you can see, I've changed this part of the drawing, so that was easy enough to do because I had the registration marks. I could put that straight on exactly where it needed to be and trace it on. So as you can see, it's quite a complex drawing, but it's very nice and clean. There's no way you could have done that just doing it freehand with a pencil. It'd just be a mess. So this is a great way to do quite a complex drawing and get it onto your canvas in a nice clean fashion, ready for painting. Also, even though I've been quite controlled in my drawing, that doesn't mean that the painting is going to be necessarily controlled. It will develop as it goes along. It's not like graphic design where you have to control everything down to the last colour or shape or whatever. As I begin painting this, it'll probably evolve, and that's the way painting should work.